Hi, I'm Amy, and this is week 3, assignment 1, behavior supports and restorative practices. I'm going to start with telling about an event that happened yesterday, Friday, November 12th, in the Learning Center at my school. It was in the afternoon, and it was myself and the lower elementary special ed teacher, and we were getting ready to work on IEPs and some testing reports. And one of our students, who has been known to throw things and disrupt classrooms by knocking materials off shelves and even knocking shelves over and eloping from campus, came in. He came in at the beginning of the week with a para one-on-one, and he did great. I introduced myself because he's new to the school, and I said, this is a place where you can come when you need a break from your classroom. And he did some activities, and he did jobs, and he did activities, no problems whatsoever. Yesterday was a different story. He arrived at school very upset with mom. He decided that he did not want to be on campus. The gen ed classroom was in PE, and he was in the classroom and he began to throw materials off shelves. I was in the room at the time. He did kick me trying to get out of the room, and I never said anything. I kept quiet, and I did my best to be calm. Mom decided she was going to take him out to breakfast and then bring him back to campus. So here we are about 1 o'clock, 1:15. He's in the Learning Center, and he is with our behaviorist. And he's doing the wiki sticks, and he has some Play-Doh. And the behaviorist said, it's time to go back to class. You need to clean up your job, and then you can come back and you can spend the rest of the afternoon in here. And he ignored her, and he continued to ignore her. And Miss Rachel was at her desk, and I kind of was listening. And the day that he did so well, he was helping me get things off the printer and just, was really active in the Learning Center. And yesterday he wanted no part of anything. But as he put down the activities he was working on, the behaviorist would pick it up and remove it from him. And she kept telling him, as soon as we go clean up the job, I will help you clean up the job. You can come back in and you can do, any activity you choose to do. Well, it got to the point where he was done listening to her. He backed away from the desk. He stood up on the desk, which happened to be by a big open shelving unit. I went over and I started to remove things that on there that were up high that he would possibly throw. And as I was removing, he was looking for anything to push, throw. And I was asked, we were said, step back. And as I was by my desk, he did pick up a bell and he threw it at my head. And I never reacted. I never said anything. We do have a CPI team that comes in, and they were in the room. The other teacher and I were asked to go out of the room. We were in the middle pod, and all we could hear is destruction. We had no idea what was happening, and it went on for a good 15 minutes. When it became silent in our room, we heard destruction in his general education classroom. He got out of our room and he went in there, and all we heard were things just smashing onto the ground. When we went back into our room, it was really sad to see what happened to our space that we built to make it a fun space, a space for any student to come in when they needed help from us. It was hard not to show anger towards this child, and we just kept saying, it's his circumstances, it's the triggers. And it comes to find out that he cut like the cord from our phone and the television, and he had scissors, and luckily we had these plastic bins by our door, and the one CPI member, she's a para, just happened to hold it up, and he went to stab her, and it went through the plastic bin. He's a very angry child, just from the little bit that I know. him when we were still in the room and he was starting to get angry and push things off the shelf and start throwing things. He was never excited. He was very cool. He was, in fact, the policeman that showed up on campus described him as being cool as a cucumber. And he was cool as a cucumber before the incident started, when I witnessed it, and then when he was talking to the police. So I have a desire to learn more about how I can be a better team member when something like this happens again. We're not sure if he's going to come back onto campus. There's a IEP meeting on Monday to discuss the situation. So the next part of my assignment was to come up with strategies to, possibly to implement, to promote an inclusive, safe, and equitable learning environment through this experience. The first strategy I am suggesting is setting up the student for success in the classroom. Before the student enters the classroom or the learning center, this space needs to be safe. Anything that he or she can use as a weapon or can be thrown needs to be put away. Materials the student can use freely should be readily available to that student. According to 5 ways to support students affected by trauma, the way the environment is set up, it can help the student feel safe and connected. Also, this article talked about positive priming. When he comes in, say hi, connect with him, find something that he likes, show him something pretty cool. And just as he's in the classroom or the learning center working, use kind words, compliment him. And I really think it's important. I have these timers, these sand timers that you flip, and he really likes them. Make those readily available to him. He came over and he knows that if he wants to borrow anything of mine, Miss Amy, can I borrow that? And he likes to use that. And will it work every day? I'm not sure, but giving him that visual timer, say, okay, when this sand runs out, it's time to go back and clean up. And maybe having that visual of knowing that, your time is running out to do this activity might ease the harshness of, okay, time to go, let's go. So I just think that priming the student, front loading the student with the information, what the expectations are, and keeping his time spent in the environment positive may help de-escalate some of the behaviors. Another suggestion was brain breaks. Giving the student just a minute to just do nothing, just take a walk, get away from the maybe the challenge of the assignment could help de-escalate a situation. And through my research, I did relearn why having an organized classroom is important. The article, Creating Classroom Routines and Procedures, talks about how an organized classroom can give the student a sense of safety, and having a consistent routine allows the student to know and expect what will be happening next. And again, this can help ease any stress that the student has. Strategy number 2 is relaxation techniques. Implementing relaxation techniques to the entire class, such as, showing them different tools, having posters of simple yoga poses on the walls in an area where the students can go to sit quietly and possibly listen to soft music is a great way to give the whole class an opportunity to use techniques when needed. According to the Tier 1 support in the PBIS, and one of the one of the core principles is to intervene early before unwanted behaviors escalate. Some suggestions when noticing the student is becoming agitated is to go up and speak quietly to the student in private, reminding him to take some deep breaths, inviting him to the quiet or peace corner where he can do some yoga stretches or just sit and listen to the music, or just sit and just be. Also letting the student know that he can stay there as long as he needs to before he emerges back into the classroom activity. Christopher Pepper wrote in his article, How to Help Students De-Stress for Success, that stress generally cuts down a person's happiness. An unhappy student with stress affecting their life can lead to a destroyed classroom. Addressing the stress in the classroom and giving every student tools needed to release their stress can hopefully keep the students happy and able to deal with the situations appropriately. So again, teaching all students ways to reduce stress is so important. From the article from Christopher Pepper, a quick and easy tool, again, is the deep breathing, which can be done throughout the day. Hey, everyone, you're doing a great job. Let's all just take a deep breath and reset ourselves and keep going. It just might give all the students, especially those who need a little extra, just a chance to take that second and be okay. So I always do, let's breathe in with the good and blow out the bad. And the students seem to like that, and it helps. Number 3, I really liked reading about the restorative circle. First of all, we need to introduce the concept of restorative practices by having a restorative circle. There we can talk about what this means and how to restore how we're feeling and how to make something better that might be bothering us. According to the video Restorative Circle 4th grade conflict resolution, begin by setting guidelines such as being respectful to each other, listening to each other, and no put downs. Having a restorative circle using a simple conflict can introduce how to solve a conflict. According to how to successfully implement restorative practices at school, implementing a restorative circle focuses on respect and can resolve problems in a supportive student-led environment. When students can expect to be heard when they are upset or involved in a conflict, they are more readily able to solve the issue before it escalates without fear of punishment. The article goes on to discuss the benefits of a restorative restorative practices. It helps the students take responsibility, make them aware of any consequences that could come from taking action when they're upset, and it teaches conflict resolution, but most importantly, it does teach about how important communication is. If I have a scheduled restorative circle weekly and the children know that that's going to happen, that gives them a chance to say, you know what, I'm going to have my voice, I'm going to have a chance to talk about this, but I also need to let them know that we can have emergency restorative circles as well. Knowing that that is open at any time will hopefully give them, the students, a way to de-escalate and put their feelings and their anger and their frustrations into words. It can begin to build trust and encourage healthy ways to reduce the stress they have or reduce the building of any anger. The 4th strategy is remaining calm. And this is mainly for, we want the students to remain calm, but this is definitely for the teachers. Self-regulation will help us get through the unnerving possibility of a dangerous situation. When our first instinct is to yell at the student who's becoming or already out of control, we need to be able to regulate our emotions and remain calm. According to the article, How to Keep Calm with Escalating Students by Taryn Stevenson, as soon as we let our emotions take over, communication, constructive communication stops. Any rational thought is shut down and reactions begin. So now the student is reacting without thought, and I, the teacher, am reacting without clear thoughts. Remaining calm keeps me from showing emotion, and I am not showing fear or anger. If I'm staying calm, hopefully the student will be able to de-escalate without much harm being done in the classroom or to himself or other students. Also, by remaining calm, according to the article, remain calm and respond right when the student challenges Remaining calm deflects a power struggle. Take a deep breath and remain calm and do not engage in the emotion. Those are my 4 strategies. I did come across a 7 rules of handling difficult students, which I am going to share with everyone in the Learning Center. And I just want to talk about them because I think they're really important. There's a lot of things we need to do. And by doing, we're being positive. These all start with don't. And I don't like that they start with don't, but they're very important when dealing with a situation or coming into a situation where you see the student becoming triggered. The first one, don't question. We want to question the student. Why? Don't question. Don't argue. This is not the time to argue. No time is to argue, but an argument when the student is being triggered is going to make it worse. Don't lecture, scold, or yell. Nothing I could have yelled yesterday would have stopped this student from throwing that belt at my head. Now, maybe it stopped him from throwing the stapler because I remained quiet. Don't give false praise. These students know when we're fake. We just need to give them the positive attention they deserve without laying it on thick. I have noticed that when he has walked into a room, he has this person talking to him all at once, saying, "Oh, you're great, this great." That's overwhelming. We can't do that. He knows what we're trying to do. Don't hold a grudge. He kicked me yesterday morning, kicked me hard in my left knee. I tore my meniscus. It hurts a lot all the time. By the time that was in the morning at 8:30, when he came in the room at 1:00, it never happened because it was the anger, it was the stress, it was the trigger of not wanting to be at school that kicked me. He probably didn't remember. So if I would have walked in there holding a grudge, what would that have done? First, it would have triggered him sooner, and he wouldn't have cared. But he does remember when I'm nice to him and when I ask him to help me. And that's what I want. Don't lose your cool. It was pretty hard just to not lose my cool, but that was I knew I had to. And I know that the CPI team, when we walk through a situation, if they're outside, none of them are losing their cool. They are keeping it together. That way, the students around that aren't involved, if they look over, they don't see a bunch of adults losing it. And then finally, don't ignore the misbehavior. If we can't be afraid of triggering him, because then he'll just do things, he'll just choose to misbehave. And that one is very difficult. If he breaks a rule, he needs to be talked to nicely, like we would do any student, in a way that, like with restorative practice, don't go at him with a punishment. Let's figure a way to show the student what he did was the wrong choice, and then hopefully we can have a positive outcome. I think all of these strategies can help in any situation, whether it's just a student with doing work refusal or 2 students in a argument in the classroom, all the way up to a student who, for whatever reason, destroys a classroom. But this is something that I want to work on. This is the student that made me realize that I want to turn the Learning Center into a true learning center. And I want to make it so when any student comes in, they can de-escalate and be in a safe space. And I am going to continue that because I do want him to be able to come in and be safe. Will we have scissors and personal things out? Probably not for a long time. So I appreciate you allowing me to do this presentation. Thank you very much.